Hello, 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 hello. Hey, how are you all doing out there today? It's been quite a while, quite a while, quite a while. I'm Cortez Ransom, and I am the host of the C Note. I haven't done an episode, and I didn't realize it was that long. I have not done an episode in like almost a whole year. A whole year. But here we are with season 3, episode 1. And it's been quite a journey. You know, I started this podcast um, in the midst of the pandemic in September of 2020. And I did a lot of episodes back then. It was kind of sporadic or whatever. I did like 25 episodes the first season. You know, the second season, which was like 2 years later, whatever, 10 episodes. And now I'm going to be more structured with it. I'm doing like 3 episodes a month up until like March. And so tonight, I'm waiting for my very special guest to come on here. Miss Kenya Chase. Hopefully she should show up very soon so we can get this thing started. I'm excited about this. It's going to be quite an episode. I don't see her yet. There she is right there. Hopefully she should be popping on the screen any second. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. How are you?
I'm good.
You good?
Yep.
All right. All right. All right. All right. You ready to get started with this?
Yes.
Season 3, episode 1. You the first one to kick it off. Now, you know, I have this little spiel that I do at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of my guests, they look forward to doing that side eye with me. Other ones are a little fuddy-duddy with it. They don't want to do the side eye with me. I'm like, get out of here. Anyway, nah. I let them, you know, they don't have to do the side eye if they don't
Yeah, I
want to.
know.
But some of my guests really get into it and they give both eyes. They give a side eye out of both eyes. So, you know, this is the C note where the real recognize real, we keep it 100, the real recognize real, and we also see you fake asses out there too. I'm here tonight with my very special guest, Miss Kenya Chase. She is a singer, an actress. She might say she's not a singer, but she is. And we've been getting on her about that. She's a singer, an actress, a songwriter, a very prolific songwriter, um, a music publisher. We're going to get into that too, and an acting coach. Now, later on, the main conversation we're going to get into is talking about the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get into that right now. And, you know, and for those out there who might have their drawers in a bunch, it's not about bad mouthing the church. We're just going to have a little conversation about some stuff, you know, keeping it real up in here. But I want to talk about first how we met. Give a little background.
Mm-hmm.
We met in 2017. We were both cast in a play by Miss Ursula Battle called For Better or Worse. It was a comedy, and we played the lead roles. Now, a lot of people are surprised about me doing comedy because they think I'm very serious all the time. But I know how to do comedy too.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. How did you feel about that production?
It was fun. It was pretty fun, and I think that we had chemistry on stage. We had a
Yeah,
good time. It was pretty fun.
yeah, it was a good time. It
Yeah.
was a good time, all right. And I want to talk to you about your career and when you got started in performing. I think we talked about that a while back,
Yeah.
which was like 3 years ago, because you were actually on the C Note before. One time, it was episode 4, I believe, the first
Yeah.
season. Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, I think you said you were like me. You've known or had a connection to the arts very early.
Yes, I
Am I
did.
correct?
Actually, I started writing songs at about the age of 6.
Hmm.
I had a love for music because I was surrounded by it. My mother played a lot of the old school music she grew up with,
Yes.
so it was just like natural. And then my father, he could sing, and then my grandmother, she could sing. So it was like I was kind of surrounded by it. And then my grandmother had us singing in church and singing around the house, and it was just something I
Mhm.
naturally did, and it soothed me. It was something I
Mhm.
normally did for myself, and I never knew that other people would get enjoyment out of it.
Right. Well, for me, I started writing songs when I was like 9, 10,
Hmm.
and started writing little plays around the same time. So I've always been into music and acting. So you mentioned singing first. So when did you get bitten by the acting bug? When did that come along? Was it around
Well,
the
what
same time?
happened is, I would say about the age of 10, I just started watching a lot of musicals. And I
Mhm.
kind of just fell in love with hearing people sing and listening to different types of singing and
Yeah.
the theatrical parts of it because I'm kind of extra and dramatic. So it fit right into
Oh,
everything
you
that
going
I
to admit
love.
that? You going to admit that you extra dramatic in real life? You be
Yes.
taking people do
So it
stuff for
was
them people?
actually like perfect. It was like I found my world. I found where I actually
Hmm.
belong because everybody had a little extra something. And so it was exciting to just watch people acting like, wow, this is interesting. Then I just started to imitate some of the characters in some of the shows or movies that I watched. And
Hmm.
I think that's how I kind of fell in love with acting and paying attention to people's expression and how they say things and like what they look like when they're expressing certain emotions. And I was really excited and drawn to that. So I just watch people have conversations to just like get some inspiration for my writing when I started writing plays.
So, what was your very first role, and what was the first play that you wrote? Do you remember?
Okay, well, the first play
And
that
do
I wrote,
you
I was about.
and do you and do you still have copies of all that stuff? Because I know stuff that I wrote when I was like 9 to 10 years old. I don't have most of that stuff anymore. You
I do not
don't know
have
where
it, but I
that
wrote
stuff
my
is.
first play at about 12 at camp. They
Mm-hmm.
You had to write something about saying no to drugs, and nobody else wanted
Okay.
to do it. So I was like, okay, give it here, I'll do it, I'll do it. And I was so excited to do it.
Yeah.
And when I did it, everybody was like, oh, this was so good. And I was like, oh, well, I was just trying it for the first time.
Mhm.
I didn't know that I would be considered good. So that was like my first time, and I don't have it. But then my first play that I actually did outward to other people that I wrote myself was at church. I was able to
Okay.
fill in for somebody because she happened to have some tragedies in her family, like 3 back-to-back deaths, and she was writing the play. So she just kind of pitched the idea to me and was like, just run with it. And so I just took the just a little minor idea she had and had to build upon it as we were rehearsing because it was like crunch
Okay.
time. So it
Hmm.
was like God was like, you wanted the chance to do it. Here's your chance. Like jump to it. And I had to like jump into it.
Right. Okay. So, what was your first role
My
that
first
you played?
actual role in community theater
Hmm.
was a role as my husband was an alcoholic, and I was
Oh,
a
Lord.
abusive wife, and I cannot recall. I think her name was
Oh, okay.
Janet.
That's a switch. That's a switch. So the wife was the abuser. You said.
No,
You
the
said you
husband
was
was the abuser. I was the abusive wife. I mean, abused wife. I meant.
okay because you said because I thought you said you were the
Oh no,
abusive
no, no.
an abusive wife. Okay. Okay.
And it
All right.
was called Heavy as the Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I understand those projects, and I know that they have to be done, but sometimes I get tired of those stories
yeah.
because that's all we seem to do
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. And that's not all of our experiences. Some of
Yeah.
us actually have good relationships with other black people, you know?
True. True.
And those stories need to be told, need to be shown, not us always constantly at each other's throats and,
Yes.
turning each other
I
around. And
truly believe that there should definitely be some type of balance,
there should be a
to it.
balance. You
Because
see,
those stories, like the lady who I played, those stories need to be heard, but they're being heard more often than the good ones. As
right,
if the good ones don't
right.
exist.
See, that's my point. There should be a balance. See, people think that I'm so against some of this stereotypical stuff, which I am.
Mm-hmm.
But my main thing is that's all we get most of the time are the
Exactly.
stereotypes.
Yeah.
There's not a balance.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with the stereotypes. We never get, how a lot of us actually live, how a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us actually treat one another well.
True.
We're not
True.
all tearing each other down as Black people, so it's important to have that balance. That's my thing. Just have a balance with it, right?
That's
You
true.
know, yeah. So you are into songwriting. I know that's one of your main things that you want to do. And you want to write
Yes.
songs for other artists. You want to get into a soundtrack thing too,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of, well, let me backtrack for a second.
Okay.
You and I both are members of
Mm-hmm.
ASCAP, right? Which, of course, you've been a member of ASCAP for, I think you said for a long time. I
Probably about
became,
20 years.
okay, I've been a member of ASCAP for maybe mm, four, 4 years now.
Okay.
I mean, but I've been writing songs for a long time, and I have songs that was copywritten 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not a member of ASCAP. I had songs copywritten through the Library of
Me too.
Congress, of course, which is very important. You always got to protect your stuff. Always got to protect your
Definitely.
stuff before you put it out there, whether it be music, whether it be a screenplay, whatever. You have to make sure it's protected. People protect
Always.
your stuff because people will try to take your stuff and put their name on it. You can't let that happen.
Mm.
So um, we were both at the membership uh, meeting
Mm-hmm.
event in New York back on February
Yeah.
28th. And I think that's the first time when you referred to me, which I love that term of endearment and I take it to heart. That's the first time you referred to me as your creative
I
bestie.
know, right?
So what
It
made
just
you
came
say
out
that?
that way.
What
It was
made,
natural. It just
uh-huh. What
came
made
out.
you
It
say
was
that?
natural.
hmm What made you
I
call
said,
me that?
huh?
What made you call me your creative
I
bestie?
know it just felt natural. We've been working together now.
Mhm.
It seems like we've become a lot closer. So it's like we've been like in the creative realm. So, I feel like when we get together, we work on things, we create great things. And so
Mhm.
I love those type of connections because they seem to be the best. When you create
Yeah.
something beautiful and then you see what it is at the end and you're both like, wow, we did that.
Yeah.
It's truly a
I'm very excited about the songs that we did for Jumbled Thoughts, my new film.
hmm
The title track, Jumbled Thoughts. I actually had a few lines in my head, which I sent the lines to you that I had in my head for the song.
hmm
The direction I wanted the song to go into, and you took that and you
Yeah.
ran with it. And you created the verses, which has a couple of my lines in it. Some of
hmm
the verses, some of my lines are in, and some of my lines are in the chorus as well. And it's a mixture of both of our words, which I like the way you put that together. I'm very excited. And you also did what I guess they would call a feature on the song.
hmm
You sang like a little part on the
Yeah.
song where you were like really doing your thing. I can't wait to get it out there, you know. And you were very hard on yourself when you were working on the lyrics for the song. I mean, like I said, I came up with the beginning idea for that, and then you ran with it, and you were like picking it apart. Now I don't like that, whatever. And you were picking apart stuff that you were doing with the song, which I think is good because we're all hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
We should hold ourselves to a high standard. So, um, how do I want to put this? What makes you excited about songwriting? Because that is one of the main things you want to do now. And what makes you like for instance, if you hear another person's song, what excites you about other people's
Well,
music?
for me, it's always the lyrics because what is the
Mm-hmm.
song saying to me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the type of person that just want to go with a great beat. I
Right.
need to know what are you feeding into my spirit. I
Mm-hmm.
need to know
Right.
what are you saying in this song, and can
Mm-hmm.
I identify? Can I relate to the words of your song? And if I can, I'm gonna vibe with it. And I want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to give people that same feeling. If you're feeling sad and my song gives you some type of hope or inspiration, then I've done what I needed to do. Because for
Mm-hmm.
me, singing soothed me. And so So
Yeah.
I feel like it has a soothing agent. Music has a soothing agent
Oh, it
where
does.
it
Yeah.
can, you know,
Hmm.
help people and move them in different situations. And so that's basically, you know, what I want to do. It just makes me excited seeing people being touched by something that I wrote, or they can identify with where I was going in a song. I wrote a song recently, and I can't say much about it because it's not out yet, but
The one you let me hear.
yeah, and it's very inspirational, but it's exactly where I am in my life right now, and I'm
It's
at a
like a,
really
I don't want to call it that,
different
but
place.
is it like a anthem, like an anthem for for underdogs, so to speak.
Exactly,
People who always people
exactly.
who always felt like they've been underestimated or shunned or
Yes,
taken for granted, which I can
yes.
identify with that, and a lot of
Yep.
people can
For
identify
every
with that.
person that feels that way or
Yeah.
whatever felt that way, your time is
Hmm.
coming. You can't give up. You can't give in. You can't stop. You know, you
Right.
fall, you got to get back up. You know, I faced the hardest challenge of my life this year. And I
Hmm.
know that I can make it now. I know that I can do anything because I've faced that hardest thing of my life and I'm still able to live and live out my dreams. And I'm not going to stop until I do it.
Well, I heard the song, and the song is powerful, and it is very catchy. It has a great hook too, which is very important in song. When you write a song, the hook has to be something that sticks in people's minds, and so
Hmm.
that's definitely that song. So I am happy to hear that. I don't know when, but I'm happy to hear that it is going to be released, right?
Hmm.
Because myself and Tony slash Maestro and Charles, we be getting on you and calling you a singer, and you're like, I ain't no singer. Yes, you are a singer. Um, and see, that's why that song was going to be released that you sung, that you wrote. Okay, you're a singer and a songwriter. You're great at it. You're serious about it. You know, a lot of times my lyrics are simple, and then sometimes I get deep too. But I'm serious and deep at the same time. Well, simple and deep at the same time. Whatever, yeah, whatever you want to call that, you know. But I'm very, excited about the song that you wrote. I'm very excited about the music that we collaborated on together for my new film, Jump with Thoughts, because, like you said, with music, the message is important to you. What's coming into your spirit. The same thing for me. What I do with films is very important to me. I'm not going to put just anything out there when it comes
Hmm.
to film either, right? Um, yeah, so I I'm very excited for you. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about what that challenge was for you this year or
Hmm.
not. But that's up to you. You know, I'm not the type that's gonna push or pry that. That's up to you if you want to share that with the audience. I also wanted to say, I forget my train of thought sometimes, but I I wanted to because we're going to get to the church thing because you kind of started talking about that, and I didn't want you to get too far into that because when you were talking about the play that you wrote, I know that there was a part of that situation and what happened with the church with you and everything.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so no, mm, okay, man. Um, Look, I don't want to get into the serious hardships and stuff like that. I know that you've been through a lot, but I did also. That's one thing that I do remember now. That's what I wanted to talk about because we know a couple of people in the arts who deal with lupus.
Hmm.
Um, the main person being Tony Braxton. Everybody knows about her situation and dealing with lupus. And I guess was it a few years ago that Nick Cannon was diagnosed with
Hmm.
lupus. That's a challenge that you face. So, how is that for you on a day-to-day basis, and while you're trying to pursue goals in the arts and so forth?
Well, it can be a challenge, especially if people know you have lupus. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll automatically count you out, assuming that you're not able to do much. That's something that
Mm,
I've experienced. Sometimes it's like people, before they count you in, they count you out. And it's okay because I'm the type of person who don't stop, and my actions show you how serious I am and how great
Mhm.
I'm going to be at what I do. And the only reason I'm saying I'm going to be great is because I put in the time and the effort to make sure that what I put out is a good product. I mean,
Yeah,
no
I
matter
can't
what I
see
do.
who that is. Somebody waving. Hey, I
Hello.
see a few. Are they your people? I can't see. But anyway, yeah.
So, but
Okay.
truthfully, I don't mind sharing what I experienced because I believe
Hmm.
it makes me a better person and a stronger person. Dealing with lupus was one thing, and I've been dealing with that for the past 20
Right.
years. And I ended up dealing with kidney disease about 2022, May of 2022. I was in the hospital for some days. It was a minute, probably about 6 days. And
Hmm.
I realized I was in stage 4 kidney disease, and I was crushed because I didn't know about a stage 3 or a stage 2 or a stage 1 or anything. And I felt robbed of the chance to stay where I was. And it was pretty scary. So I decided that I wanted to stay there as long as I could because I was so freaked out about dialysis. It was like, no, I can't go there. Like, how am I going to be
Hmm.
able to live? How am I going to be able to live out my dreams and still do acting and write and be the person that I was destined to be? Am I going to be able to do these things? And it was like I was so afraid, but I was like, God, if you brought me here, I'm sure that you're going to bring me through. So I trusted, that the creator of all things, God, was going to make sure that I was okay. And so I said, I'm going to stay here. So I stayed at stage 4 for 2 years, just about. And then I went into dialysis
Hmm.
April of this year. And that was the biggest challenge of my life. But I'm taking it like a champ because I don't let things conquer me. And I have things that I want to do. And I have a lot to say to the world. And I refuse to stop, and I refuse to give in. I keep getting knocked down, and I keep getting knocked down, and I
You got to
keep
keep
getting knocked
getting
down.
back up.
I
Get
keep
back
getting
up. Get
knocked
back
down,
up.
and I
Pop out.
keep
Yeah.
getting back up. And I just keep getting
Yeah.
back up because I
Keep
just
getting back up.
refuse. I refuse to give up. Like I'm just not. I just
Hmm.
won't. And so here
Yeah.
I am at the biggest, dealing with the biggest thing of my life. But I'm taking it like a champ because as I'm doing this, I'm also writing. I'm also
Yeah.
doing
And
some
see,
things. You know.
you surprised yourself because at first you was talking yourself like you couldn't handle
Exactly.
it, right? But you surprise yourself you can handle it. See
Definitely.
how well you're doing? You get up every day. It's all about your mentality and your attitude. You can't let anything stop you. Can't let these people out here stop you. People say all types of stuff to you or things that come. I've had challenges in my life too. I'm not going to get into all of that because this is about you. But of course, I've suffered some things too. Like I suffered a severe brain injury as a child or whatever. And I was told in my young adulthood that because of that brain injury, I wouldn't be able to do anything. But of course, I didn't let that stop me. If I had listened to what the doctor said to me, I wouldn't be here right now. Because they told me because of that brain injury, I wouldn't be able to achieve anything, pretty much, according to them. But that brain injury, it affects me in certain ways. It does, but I can't. I kind of told me, I didn't let that stop me, and that couldn't stand in the way my God-given, ancestor-given talents and abilities. No matter what that situation is with the brain injury or whatever, it can't stand in the way of what God created me to do, what the ancestors have
Exactly.
called me to do. You got to keep going. No matter what challenges you face, you got to tell yourself, I can do this, I can get through it, and you're doing it. You're handling it like a champ. And I'm so very proud of you and happy for you. You're an amazing talent. I've seen you on stage before. You always give your all. You go all in. You become the character. You're not acting. You actually become the character. And that's what I always say. Acting is becoming. Acting is not acting. Acting is becoming. You have to get into the
Definitely.
mindset of the character and become the character and feel what the character would feel, even if it's a character that you may actually hate in real life because I played characters that I didn't really like, and um, of course, when you're playing a character that you may not be fond of, if that was a real person, you can't look at the person like that, right? Because you're
Hmm.
playing this person. So you have to humanize this character in your mind so
Exactly.
that you can identify with the character. You
Hmm.
know, it's very important. And you're into music publishing, which is something that a lot of artists don't get it. They just focus on the art side and the writing side and the singing and performing side. But you are more so into the business side. You say you're not a singer, but you are a singer, and you're going to be putting out a song. You also got that feature on Jumble Thoughts as well. So you're going to be doing both, but you want to focus on the publishing. Is it because of the money? Is that the main reason? Or I know that has to be one of the reasons because
Well, I would
that's where
say
the money is.
Well, I would say the reason that I'm focusing on publishing is because this day and age, what I notice about people who are signed to labels, they're fighting for masters.
The sound
They're
went down a
fighting
little
to
bit.
have the
Okay.
rights to their music. They're fighting with publishers and labels to get back music and creative thoughts that were theirs. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on the whole publishing idea for the last 20 years, really honestly. And I started way
Right.
back
Hey,
20 years ago trying to
Marcus. Mm-hmm.
start publishing, and it didn't quite, I didn't really know the steps. And now that I have a mentor, he's guiding me towards the right direction to actually own my rights and to come out on top and to be a boss and a CEO to my work.
Okay. So you said you have a mentor, somebody that's taking you under their wing to
Yes.
show you the ropes of music publishing and all that.
Yes.
How long have you known? It's a brother, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you known him?
I've known him for 20 years.
Oh, 20
Yeah,
years.
he
And
did my
so
actually he did my first demo.
your first demo.
He saw me at a local Baltimore Idol or something that they were doing. He was one
Mm-hmm.
of the judges, and he was like, "Well, you sound pretty good. You don't have a demo." And I was like, "No." He was like, "I'll help you." And so I linked up with him, and we worked together, and we banged out 3 songs in like one session, and that was like the start of our relationship. Pretty much is like he was always a mentor and giving me
Okay.
information and great nuggets to keep with me. He's the
See,
reason that I started copywriting my music.
we need more people like him. He took
Mm,
you under his wing and started showing you the ropes and showing you the business side and working with you on this music publishing, which you have started your own music publishing company.
yes.
If you want to share the name of it, you can. I wish you could show your logo on here too, which because a really talented I have a lot of talented friends. Another really talented friend of mine, he designed the logo for Kenya's music publishing company, and it looks really good. But we need more people like him who are willing to take people on and show people the ropes and mentor other artists and show them the business
Mm.
side. And to my knowledge, right, he's just doing this because he wants to help.
Well,
He's not
well, definitely, definitely. But of course, if there's anything that I need to pay for, of course,
right,
you
right.
pay for it. But but it's like a guy who's guiding me to all the things that I need to
Hmm.
do step by step of
But he's
the
not he's
direction.
not like harping on being paid.
Mm-mm.
I mean, of course, everybody wants to
No,
get paid,
no,
but
no,
that's not. He
no.
wants his main thing is like
Yeah,
helping you,
yeah,
which is very rare
guidance.
nowadays.
Just basically
Right.
guidance.
That's very rare nowadays because a
It
lot of
is.
people
But we
they
talking
just
about a
focus
20-year
on trying to get
relationship
paid.
of communicating, 20 years of
Hmm.
communicating and getting information here and there, and me not being as serious as I should be, and him knowing that. And then when I'm coming down, like, okay, I'm serious, just, tell me the steps. You tell me the steps and I'm going to do them, whatever it takes. And it's not easy, and
Hmm.
a lot of that stuff costs money. So it's like, it's
Oh
difficult. But
yeah.
whatever, you have to do, you have to face those challenges and just keep going, and keep going,
Hmm.
because you will be able to achieve your dreams as long as you don't stop, and you can see yourself achieving those dreams, then you can definitely achieve those dreams. The name of my publishing
Yeah.
company is called Can You Hear Me Publishing. And it's
Kenya
Kenya,
here.
like my name,
Like a little, yeah, a
Kenya
little play
Hear
on
Me
words. Yeah.
Publishing, because music is something that speaks to our hearts, but through our
Mm-hmm.
ears. And so I feel like, I've always been kind of saying to the world, can you hear me? Because I was always a short person, so people always kind of didn't see me. Or my voice is small, so you don't hear me. And, I'm in a line and you
Wait a
see
minute,
someone who's
hold
taller
up,
than
hold
me.
up, hold up,
It's
hold up,
like,
hold up, hold up, hold up. Did you say your voice is small?
yeah, I mean, it can be big, but
Yeah,
it can,
because
my voice
you
is
got a
when I'm
you got a big singing voice in you. You do. Uh-huh. Don't be playing, don't be fronting because I done heard
Not
you.
like
I done heard
not like
you.
singing
Yeah.
voice, like
Uh-huh.
just like
Okay.
regular. Like on a regular basis, I'm very passive, so you may kind of see me as the underdog. So I feel like my music publishing company speaks to the world is
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Can you hear me?" And you will hear
Right.
me through my music. You will feel where
Well,
I'm coming from. You will get an understanding of who I am and what it
mm-hmm.
is and why my heart beats and what makes my heart beat or what makes me sad or what makes me happy, because I write songs about everything. Every
Yeah, you
emotion,
write about
everything I
everything. You want to
experience.
write all genres, right? You said
Mm-hmm.
you want to write all genres of music, even country and all that.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been seeing all these black country artists get their shine lately, you
Yeah.
know, which is really great because we created all of that anyway. We created all that. And the instrument, some of the instruments that are very essential to country music, you know, was created by black
Mm-hmm.
people, African people. The banjo, which is one of the main instruments in country music, was created in West Africa, you know? So we created all that stuff. It's all ours anyway. Rock and roll, all of it. It's all ours. Classical music, all of it is ours. You know, there's no such thing as quote unquote. Well, I ain't too crazy about heavy metal, but they can have that. There's a lot of screaming and banging stuff. I don't want to hear all that.
Yeah,
You
I don't know about
know
that.
what you
I
said?
said I don't know about that one.
What heavy metal?
Yeah, heavy metal. Mm-mm. Not for me.
Nah,
Not my cup of tea.
I ain't trying to get into that either. Not trying to get into that either. But we can get into the church situation, right?
Okay.
Now, one of the reasons why, because I think I told you, I don't know how many months ago, I feel I brought it up maybe 3 months ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe 3, 4 months ago, I brought it up. And I was saying, you know, how I've been seeing a lot of people talk about the fact that people are leaving the church. And then I see people um, saying stuff like, well, those people must have been more into the people than they were into God. And people leaving the church, and there's an assumption that because people are not going to a brick and mortar church on a regular basis, that they've also left God, right? I, I've been seeing that type of stuff being stated. I've been seeing memes about that, you know, and people have also said stuff, you know, like, well, you leaving the church because they got liars and fake people and cheaters or whatever in the church, but you don't leave the club because they got the same people in the club. Well, people be people be saying all kinds of wild stuff. I mean, for me personally, I could say I have because there were places that I did frequent, which I have not been to like in well over a year now, where every time I walked into that place, I felt the energy shift. And I knew there were people in the room that didn't care for me. So I don't go to those particular places anymore because I don't like being around a bunch of bad energy or fake energy, whether it be in a club or whether it be in a church. Now, when I talked to you about that situation and I said I wanted to do a show discussing that topic with someone, you said you wanted to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to talk about it because you want to set the record straight because you're not going to a church like that right now. But you have not walked away from God. You very much still believe in God. You very much still love God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want you to talk about your your journey in the church and what made you start to not want to go to church on the regular,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have God with you um, the whole time, though, and you
Mm-hmm.
still believe in God and you still love God. And one thing that I want people to know also, that you weren't just a church member just attending church. You were also a minister, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken, you were a
Yes.
minister in the church, as well as they wanted you to run or be a part of the drama ministry. So
Mm-hmm.
take it away. Tell your story.
Well, I'm a person that grew up in church as a child. My grandmother was assistant pastor at the church, so church wasn't something that was unfamiliar to me. But what I
Hmm.
come to realize as I went from a child
Hey.
to an adult is that people will be in church forever, but you will not see how they treat people change. You'll
Hmm.
see people who've been in church 50 years and be the meanest person you've ever met. And you
Hmm.
try to figure out, well, if they treat me like that in church, then what's the difference between going there and being outside? If outside is
Right.
supposed to be worse, but I come in the church and get the same
Hmm.
concepts that I find outside the doors. And these are supposed to be leaders, which means that you're supposed to take your position seriously. I'm not talking about just regular other congregation people. They can go ahead and do whatever because we're all pretty much there for the same reason. You're supposed
Hmm.
to be to get better. And whatever your better is, that's what you're there to become. Better than you were when you came. And see, when you come in the doors and you're broken and you encounter these people with these terrible attitudes and demeanors and these judgmental mentalities, you don't have the
Hey, what's up,
energy.
Antonio?
You don't have
Hmm.
the energy to fight with people about whatever at church when you can do that outside the door. If I'm fighting in my home and I go to church for refuge and I find the same things there, why am I there? And then me as a minister, a lot of people say, well, congregation people. No, I'm talking about behind the scenes. Behind the scenes,
Hmm.
it'd be crazy. It'd be cliques, people talking about people. Like, if people need help, nobody in the church should know that they got help from the pastor. Like,
Right.
nobody should know.
I
But
I
that kind of stuff
talked to some.
continuously happen.
I agree with you. I mean, I said to someone recently, because I don't go to church on the regular anymore either. And I used to be in church every Sunday, singing on the choir and everything. And I used to be on like three choirs at one time, And recently, one of the church choirs I used to be on, they having like an anniversary thing. With the big anniversary is next year, and they're doing something this year too. So I said I would come back because they're inviting like all the former choir members back and the former choir directors and all that, right? And I'm like, I'll come back for that. People like, oh, we miss your voice and all this and that. And when are you coming back to the church? I'm like, I'm not coming back in, not on no regular basis. I come back for this special event,
Hmm.
but I don't want to be there every week anymore, like that every Sunday, and I don't have to be there to get God or to feel God, because God comes from within.
Hmm.
The spirit, that energy that people call God, it lives within inside of us. Um, so I have God with me no matter where I am, and I know you feel the same thing.
Hmm.
People think that, well, first of all, people will tell you if you're in a bad situation, get away from it, right? If you're in a bad situation, you're supposed to get away from it. People will tell you get
Hmm.
away from a bad situation that you're not feeling good about, that you're not being treated right. But for some reason, there's this notion, if you're in church, you're supposed to put up with it,
Yeah.
right? Because they say that, well, who are you to judge? We're all there to um, get well, or and so we shouldn't judge each other, and we're supposed to put up with this and put up with that. But if you're being abused in the church, you shouldn't stay there and take that. And you
No.
don't have to be in a church to have a relationship with God, right? And again, this is not about bashing the church. I'm not bashing the church at all. But this is just about your own peace of mind, which is very important, and keeping your own sanity. It's like you said earlier about there being cliques in the church. And I said to somebody, recently about that same thing. And they was like, well, why wouldn't you want to go back to the church on a regular basis? I said, because they had all that mess going on there. There was cliques in the church. There was backbiting in the church, um, jealousy in the
Yeah,
church, and all that. And I don't really want to be around that, you know?
yeah.
So I just want you to make it clear from your point of view, because again, like I said, there's this notion that people who are not going to church every Sunday no longer believe in God or don't love God. So I want you to talk about your faith, the way you feel, and your love for God, and the fact that, or why you feel like you don't have to be in church every Sunday to
Well,
serve God and love
whew,
God.
having a little hot flesh. I'm at that age. Ooh, Lord, I'm at that
Really?
age. Yes, I'm at that age. Lord have mercy. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm at that age. Whew, okay. So, well, the thing about it is that especially me, with me having health issues, I just don't have time. I don't have the
Hmm.
energy. And then I was at church 6 days a week. I mean, I was there almost more than the pastor. I'm on 6, 7 ministries. I'm stretched thin. And then you got the nerve to talk to me any kind of way, and nobody has my back. Like,
Hmm.
there was a situation where I'm a minister, he was a deacon, and he yelled at me like I was a child in front of kids that I mentor. And I
Hmm.
was really upset about that. And I went to the pastor about it, calling myself doing the right thing. And he treats me as if I'm being childish and I need thick skin. It's like, no, you don't just allow people to just disrespect people for no apparent reason. It's like not okay. Yeah, it's not a
Hmm.
good thing. Oh, Lord, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. She'll be right back, y'all. For those who are watching, I saw a couple of people pop in and out, but I don't know who's still in here. I think I see there's a couple of people here, whatever, but yeah. She'll be right back. We're not going to be keeping you too much longer tonight. Uh,
Woo,
there
okay.
she
I'm back. I'm
is.
back.
Hey.
Woo, Lord, them flashes ain't no joke, man. They can have them. I'm telling you. They
I'm
can
so
have
glad
them.
I'm a man for many reasons.
Well, what I was saying, it was me being a minister. It's like you get to see stuff in the background, and you start to say like, this is supposed to be about God. And when the focus changes, that's when I was ready to go. And I
Hmm.
decided to do things what I call is the right way. I
Right.
typed up a letter. I had a pastor friend of mine proofread it to make sure that it was very respectful. And
Hmm.
I scheduled a meeting with my pastor, and I spoke with him about how I felt. And I felt like if people need hope and we're not giving it to them, then that means that there's blood on our hands. And I don't want blood on my hands. I
Hmm.
don't want blood on my hands. I want to be able to help anybody. I don't judge people. I don't care if you're homeless, you don't smell good. I don't care about any of that. I'm still going to treat you like a person.
Right.
You so um yeah, these hot flashes, Lord, I thought it
But I'm
was
not
gone.
going to keep you on here too
It
much
ain't
longer.
gone. It ain't gone yet, but it's okay. So, me being a really nice person, when I see people hurting, I'm very
Mhm.
empathetic and I feel that pain. So, I can't be around you treating people wrong. I had invited this homeless man to church one time, and we had went and evangelized on the street. And I got that man to come to church. And I
Mhm.
was really ready to jump down there and be real nice to him, but I was on a choir thing because I was, on a choir. And that man
Mhm.
felt so uncomfortable. He left, and it really like hurt my heart. So that was like time was going by. That made me end up writing my letter and meeting up with my pastor for him to tell
Good,
me,
because well,
for him
why did he feel uncomfortable? Because people were looking at him in a
yeah, sideways.
sideways and turning their nose up at him.
Yeah, he may
Yeah.
not smell very good, but they didn't have to
Mhm.
treat him that way.
I agree.
So I felt for him. It was like it was so many things happening, and
They
just so
should have
many
been.
families were leaving. It was
Yeah,
like,
they should have been trying to help him instead of turning their nose up
yeah,
at him. You
It
know.
was like more people weren't being fed, and people weren't being,
Mm,
people weren't growing. And when you're not growing, you're stagnant. You're not moving, and that's not for me. I'm the type of person that needs to grow. Wherever I am, I need to be able to grow and be better than what I was when I came. And so when I had this meeting with my pastor, I went in there with a very positive mindset, and just to let them know that my time was up there. I had been there about 7 years, and my time was up. And
mm-hmm.
anybody know anything about numbers? Seven is the number of completion. My time was up there, and so it was time for me to go. And so I had prayed a lot on it. So I knew what I was doing was the right thing. Nobody was going to change my mind. And I'm very strong in my faith and in my spirituality to know that what I was doing was the right thing. And I did it. And he gave me the impression that if I left there, that my ministry wouldn't grow. And the
Mm,
devil is a liar. No, or whatever's negative is a liar, because that's lies.
right.
Um, my
Because
ministry flourished.
you already know how I feel about you already know right, you already know how I feel about the so-called devil, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think there's one like that. I don't give that entity power over me. And I have made a comment on a post, and the person came through who it wasn't their post, but there's this female minister that I know that I'm cool with and who I respect, and she said to me, don't try to act like the devil don't got no power, right?
Hmm.
And I respectfully said back to her, I said, well, not over me, you know. Um, I didn't get smart or anything. I could have said maybe it has power over you, but not over me. I don't give that so-called
Hmm.
devil any power. Reverend Ike, who was a pastor from decades and decades ago, who I've been seeing a lot of videos pop
Hmm.
up from him recently. Um, he says a lot of stuff that I agree with. He talks about God coming from within, and the fact that this so-called devil is used as a scapegoat, right?
Hmm.
People keep doing the foul shit that they want to keep doing because they want to do it,
Hmm.
and they blame it on this so-called devil because they don't want to take accountability for what they choose to do.
Hmm.
That's how I feel
I,
about it. People want to
I
keep
understand where
blaming
you're
this
coming from.
so-called devil because they want to keep doing this shit. They get off on mistreating people. They get off on wanting to cheat on somebody. So they want to blame this on this so-called devil. And I just don't agree with that because the so-called devil ain't making me do nothing. Okay?
Hmm.
This so-called devil ain't making me do shit. He ain't tempting me to go out here and mistreat anybody. It's not tempting me to cheat on somebody if I was in a relationship because I take commitment very seriously. So I'm not going. People get off on being tempted, right?
Hmm.
They enjoy the thrill of being tempted.
Yeah.
So they claim that the devil is tempting them. No, ain't no devil tempting them to do nothing. You doing that shit because you want to do it because it feels good to you.
Hmm.
Okay, it's not because some entity that supposedly lives in the ground is tempting you, like holding a thing in front of your face, hypnotizing you. Come here, whatever. I just don't feel that. It's the so-called devil don't have any power. Not over here. The
Yeah,
devil, the
I
so-called
understand.
devil don't.
I understand exactly where you're coming from. The way that I view that is the way that I feel about good versus evil, because there is good and there is evil, and there's
Mm-hmm.
evil energy and evil spirits, and I do believe
Right.
in them. And
Mm-hmm.
evil spirits will get into good people and have them doing some cruddy stuff, and that's because they
Mm-hmm.
allowed that to happen. That's something they
Right.
welcomed into their spirit. That's why you got to be careful who you're around, who you're allowed to touch your hair, touch your house, come into your spirit, your space, your body, all of that.
People don't believe that when people say stuff about be careful who you sleep with because you're transferring
It's
spirits. When you lay
real.
down with somebody, people don't believe that stuff is true. It is true.
It's
That's
real. It's
that's
very
that's
real.
why that's why it's a lot of batshit crazy people out here
Yeah,
today
yeah,
because they
yeah.
got
It's very
all those
real.
spirits on them from people that they done laid
Yeah,
down
you
with. A lot of them. So.
You have to be very protective of your energy and your
Hmm.
space. You have to be very protective about it. And so I am now, as in I wasn't at first, but not so much. But I'm more protective of my space as I grow older, and just understanding life and going through some things. I've just decided to really keep my space very, very protected and very peaceful. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
it's very important to protect your energy, protect your mind,
yes.
because people will try to take you there,
Hmm.
and me being a empath, and I believe you are as well, we pick up on energy, right?
Yes.
And like I was saying earlier about going into certain places, I would walk into these places and I would feel the room shift or the energy shift in the room
Hmm.
when I walk in the door. I can feel it, right? And I'm like, I don't belong in here, right? And I know there's some people in here that don't have my best interest at heart, right? And that's another reason why I keep to myself a lot, because when I'm in a room full of people, I pick up on all that energy, and that can be very overwhelming, and it can be very exhausting picking up
Yeah.
on everybody's energy, right? That's why I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional on making sure that I'm around good people, good, genuine people. Um, you, because I can't deal with being around a whole lot of fake energy and backstabbing energy. I can't be around that, you know. So I stay away from that. And then there's this whole notion, like I've heard people say things like they could never be friends with a quote unquote atheist, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I know atheists are supposed to be people who claim that they don't believe in God, right? I, I don't know how they got to that conclusion or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are a bad or evil person, right? Because maybe it's some stuff that happened in their life that make them feel that way. Maybe it's because they was mistreated in church that make them feel that way or whatever by
Hmm.
people, by people. But I've met people who call themselves atheists who are actually very sweet, kind people, and they treat you. They treat you the way that so-called church people are supposed to treat you.
Yeah.
I met I met some people that call themselves atheists who actually are loving and caring, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to some of these people who quote Bible scriptures 24/7, who treat other people like shit.
Hmm.
You so I don't judge a person or a brother or a sister who says that they are atheists, because I don't know what made them feel that way.
Hmm.
They could have been dealing with a whole lot of crap
Yeah,
that
that's
made them feel that
possible.
way, right? So, but people hear that we're atheists, and it makes them think that the person must be evil or demonic, but that's not always the case. Some people just don't believe because of, I guess, things that may have happened in their life and experiences that they've
Yeah.
had. But I've met people who call themselves that, who are actually really nice people and treat people well. But you
But
know,
I just meet
eh,
people where they are,
right,
and I
right,
don't try to make them be what I want them to be. I just accept people
hmm,
for who they are because that's what you should do. Like I'm just okay with who
yeah,
you are, and I'm okay with embracing it and not picking apart who people are.
hmm,
That's not something I'm interested in.
yeah,
I'm more
yeah.
interested
So.
in understanding people's emotions and feelings so I can act them out when I play parts.
Hmm.
Because when I play my parts, of course, I have to identify with feelings and emotions.
Right.
So that's all I'm concerned about. Other than that, anything that's about drama, negativity, I'm not about it. So when church is filled with that and I'm fighting already in my regular life, it's not a place I want to be. I was going to a church and the church was big and I felt like it was a bad idea to even join the church, but I did. 8 months had went by. I had been in the hospital a million times. Nobody from the church ever checked on me or to see if I was okay or even alive. They decide they're about to do drama ministry or something, and my name was on the drama ministry list. And I guess she heard from somebody else some plays I did at
Hmm.
another church. And so they call me up. The pastor calls me up and ask me where have I been and why haven't I been in church, and I tell her I don't go there anymore. She's like, well, when did you let us know? And I'm like, well, nobody even recognized that I was even gone. Nobody even bothered to check on me. That lady fussed me out, called me a liar and everything on the phone. It was the worst thing ever. I never thought a pastor would treat me like that. Like, I was so blown away. I thought I was talking to a hood chick from down Pennsylvania Avenue somewhere. I was so confused.
Mm. Yeah.
And it was like, okay, and you're treating me like this for what? Because I'm not there to do plays at church. Like, I'm so confused. So you heard I raised a lot of money at my other church. Is that what it is? Because I'm
See?
confused. Like, you shouldn't even be that daggone pressed about somebody leaving the church and not once asked me how I was doing when I said I was in the hospital a million times. You was more concerned about calling me a liar and all this stuff. I'm like, why am I a liar? Because I don't go there anymore. And then she called up my current pastor, put her on three-way. It was something else. Then I was on a prayer line, and I had them, and I would do devotions every now and then they was talking about. Then the pastor talked about me on the prayer line, right while I'm on there. Like, you want to know why
Why
I
did
don't
she
go to
call?
church? You
Why did
want to know
she
why I don't go
put
to
your
church?
former? Why she put your former pastor on a three-way?
Why?
Uh huh.
I don't know. She was like, so what church you go to now? So I told her what church I go to. She was like, oh, that's my mentee. I mentor her. And she called her up.
Mm.
I was like, what is happening? But when she proceeded to go in on me, that's when it got weird. And I was sitting
Okay.
here on that phone like, my mouth was like, I mean, and I'm gonna be real honest because I'm a transparent person. After I got off the phone, I cried. I ain't let her know I cried, but it broke my heart. Like, wow, she just treated me like that over nothing.
Right.
And y'all want me go where? Y'all want me to do what every
see,
Sunday?
see, see. Not all, but a lot of church people are very overly judgmental. Um, and they put themselves on a pedestal and look down their nose at everybody else. They sit around and quote scriptures, but they don't have God in their heart like they should, or they don't even really know who God is
Exactly.
because they keep believing the lies about God that we've been taught, that God is outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
If more people realize that God lives within
Yes.
and got in tune with that fact that God lives within us and not outside of us, more people would be better off and probably would think better. But we're
Yeah.
looking for God outside of us. That's not the answer. God is right here inside of us the whole time.
Yep.
And if more people realize that, we would be better off. But unfortunately, when I say stuff like that, and like when I say that we are gods, right? When I say we are gods, people think that that's being blasphemous. I'm not calling myself God. I'm just saying I'm an extension of God.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in that Bible that's been rewritten several times over, it says it in there. Know that ye are gods. So you are God, I'm a God because we come from God, because God lives within us. It's not about being blasphemous. And
Yeah.
as more of us realize that we have that connection, direct connection, and they're not outside of us, we would think clearer instead of letting these people indoctrinate our minds and tell us how we should feel and how we should think,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
So
and like I was saying, go ahead. Sorry.
one other thing I want to say, because the church experience for me was not all negative experiences.
Hmm.
I've met some
Of
of
course
the
not. Right.
best people I've ever met in my entire life, and we're still connected. People I met in 2007, and these people are still connected like family to me. So it has been
Hmm.
also a place where I've connected with some really people who actually really knew what it was like to serve God and know what it looks like
Right.
to serve God and to be of God and to carry around his spirit. Now, I did meet a nice amount of those people within my
Hmm.
journey. fraternity, which are people who I to this day love and adore, who have looked out for me like I was like their blood family. So
Yeah,
I did make some
the,
great
the the same with
connections.
me. The same with me. Like of course, nothing is all bad or all good or whatever. There are good people there. That's the reason why I even thought about going back for the choir
Hmm.
anniversary because I do have still some connections with a lot of the people there.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I just don't want to be in a church on a regular basis anymore, dealing with all that other stuff, right? Because for me, the church is right here inside of me anyway. To me, as they refer to the body as the temple.
Yes.
Body is the temple of
So you are
God.
the
God lives
church.
right here anyway, right? So I am the church
Hmm.
right here the whole time. So I don't have to go to a brick and mortar building to feel close to God, right? And people will tell you, you know, like I said, in any other circumstances, people will tell you to move away from something that's not making you feel good, something that's not treating you right, something that's abusing you. They will tell you to move away from it, right? But if you're being misused and abused under a brick and mortar church, people tell you that you have to put up with that and just stay there in it and hope that things change.
Hmm.
And I don't agree with that. And because your peace of mind and uh, your mental health, because that kind of stuff can mess with your mental health and all that too. It's important that you look out for that first. And I know that God understands that. God does not want us to stay somewhere where we're being mistreated.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah,
I know
I
that.
agree. And I feel like in those type of situations, the first thing that I would do, because I am a leader, would be try to address the issue once. Once I try to address it and work it out, and if you, I deserve respect because I give respect, and it should be treated with respect what I'm saying, and it should be heard. And if those steps are
Hmm.
not taken to make sure that I'm respected like everybody else should be, like there's a problem, then I'm going to have to go somewhere where I'm supposed to be, because
Right.
I know that God didn't create me to be nobody's doormat on for the
Exactly.
sake of I go to church and I'm trying to live right, I'm trying to live for God, so I allow people to abuse me. Like that's
Hmm.
not what I'm going to do, because we've already as a people have been abused and we've gotten used to it, so that we are like, okay, a little abuse is okay because we've been
Hmm.
experiencing so long. And no, I don't want to get used to
No,
dysfunction. I
abuse
don't
is
want to
never
get used
okay.
to something that is going to stagnate my growth. I don't need that. I don't have time for that. What
Hmm.
I need is something that's going to help me grow and become a better person. And if I'm at church or wherever and something happens, people should be addressed so that they can grow. Because if they don't know how to talk to me and somebody address them about how they address me, and then they say, oh, okay, you know what, that wasn't right, then we can move forward. But if
Right.
somebody going to pacify feelings because that's the pastor's daughter, I got a problem with that,
Hmm.
because people are people, and if you're doing something wrong, you should be reprimanded with love. And I should be able to say to you, you said something to me in the wrong way. People gonna tell me get hard, get tough skin. I feel like that's saying allow everybody else in the world to just be nasty, and you're just supposed to just agree and be like, okay, I need thicker skin
Hmm.
because I'm too soft. No, people are too nasty. How about that? How about
Right.
people can be a little kinder? And the world would be a lot better if people were kinder and thought more of other people. People issue with me is that I'm too nice.
Hmm.
Too nice. Sometimes people need a little nice. Everybody got their face all frowned up. You speak to people, I don't know her, so they don't want to speak. It's like, what's wrong with just being kind sometimes without an
Right.
agenda, without a hidden agenda? Just be nice. Y'all, people can't even accept that. Now, that's really truly being God. That's showing God. That's showing
Hmm.
my God-like features, my God-like attributes, because I'm being kind without wanting anything, and people don't even know how to take that.
Right. Oh,
People don't know how to
I
embrace
know.
that.
I
You know.
know. Because a lot of people got ulterior motives. People just can't. A lot of people can't be nice just to be nice, or like somebody earlier I was going back and forth with on Facebook. He had posted a message, and I had said, he said he was rooting for everybody, and I told him that I'm rooting for you too, brother. I'm rooting for you too. Now I don't know this brother like that. He's just on my
Mm-hmm.
friends list, but I am rooting for him.
Yeah.
I I want great for him in life. That's just how I am. And when I tell people congratulations and I'm happy for them, I mean that.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting around hating on anybody. I'm not jealous of anybody. I'm satisfied with what God
Yeah.
gave me and the talents that God gave me. So I don't have any time or energy or interest. Jealousy is a thing that's never been on my plate. I see
Yeah.
no use to be jealous of any. I see no use for being jealous of anybody. I'm happy for I'm happy, especially for other Black people who are doing well. And I just wish that more of us could be that way for one another and uplift one another. Like I shared a post earlier um, about Simone Biles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she had took on this other young sister who was into Olympics. I mean, not
Shakari.
into Olympics, but gymnastics.
Shakari.
No, it was somebody else.
Oh, because Shakari Richardson did real good too.
Yeah, and this young lady that she took on didn't have a lot of confidence in herself.
Oh, okay.
So she built up her confidence, right? And basically, I shared that post and I said that more of us should be about trying to build up each other's
Mm-hmm.
confidence instead of trying to tear each other down.
Yeah.
Because my personal experience has been I've had issues with self confidence. Um, I've had, issues with a lack of self confidence, rather, and self doubt. And my experience in life has been that I ran across people who have tried to play on that. I ran across people who try to reinforce my self doubt instead of trying to build me up.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people who were friends or supposed to be friends who would smile on my face, but they're trying to um, do things on the slide to make me not believe in myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're hating on me behind my back.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. And so I made this post earlier about how we should be about trying to build each other up. If we see another brother or sister that doesn't have as much confidence as they should, we should be trying to build them up to get them to believe in themselves. We shouldn't be trying to make them doubt themselves even more or
Mm-hmm.
doubt their abilities even more. We should be trying to build
Yeah.
them up and help them. That's how I feel, right? You know. So the the bottom line of this whole conversation about the church and all,
Mm-hmm.
I think I was saying earlier, I just want people, to realize that even in the church, we shouldn't put up with abuse.
No.
I know there's this whole thing about you've heard the whole notion about being long suffering
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they tell Black folks. Be long suffering. No matter what happens to us, we're supposed to put up with it. All the racist shit we got to deal with, put up with it. And God will be there for you when you die. Um, why do we have to die to have a good life? Why do we have to die to be happy? Why do we have to keep putting up with being mistreated on this earth? I don't think that's what God wanted for us. I don't believe that God put us here to spend our entire existence fighting racism. I have no interest in fighting racism. That's not my thing, actually. My thing is trying to wake Black people up to get us to think, to realize where our power is.
Mm-hmm.
And our power is not in seeking acceptance. Our power is in us loving
Mm-hmm.
us and putting us first, the same way every other group of people does, right? Um, I mean, you saw how quick the Asians got that anti-Asian hatred,
Yeah.
right? Real quick, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been under attack for centuries and counting. It's still going on. And we don't have an anti-African American hate bill or anti-black hate bill. But the Asians got a bill that specifically protects them. And they got it just like that. After this so-called attack on Asians popped up out of nowhere, and it went away, and it went away just as quick as it supposedly appeared. I think the whole thing was contrived, actually. Um, because but that's because I'm very observant. But what I was saying is that people would tell you in normal situations not to put up with abuse and to get away from certain things. But if those same things are going on in church, we're told we're supposed to stay there and just deal with it. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that's what God would want us to do. We're not supposed to stay anywhere, including the church, if we're being mistreated.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be somewhere else. And like I said, you know, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from going to a brick and mortar church. No, by all means, continue to do so as long as there's somewhere that feeds your spirit, not somewhere where you're going to
Yeah.
be being
Can you
mistreated and
give me
abused. You
one?
shouldn't
Can
stay
you
anywhere where
excuse
you.
me 1 second? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me 1 second.
Okay. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm all in the camera. Okay, I'm good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we're about to wrap this up in a minute anyway. No, no, but I was just saying, under normal circumstances, we tell people, don't stay anywhere where you're being mistreated, right? But in the
Mm-hmm.
church, we're supposed to put up with it. And I
Yeah.
don't believe that's what God would want us to do. You're not supposed to stay anywhere you're being mistreated, not even in church. If you're not being treated right, if the people in church are not doing right by you, you shouldn't stay in that
Nope.
space, right? I don't believe that God wants you to stay even in a church where you're being done wrong. But to get away from that. So you can say how you feel about that, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. And then we're gonna also go back to a happier topic right quick before we leave here.
Well, um, see, I just want to go somewhere where I can feel the warmth when I come in the door. I want to feel comfortable. I want to
Mm-hmm.
feel the love. Like I'm not the type of person that go around complaining about things, and that's why I'm speaking
Right.
about this. I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Maya Angelou said it best. You might not remember when nobody tell you or something how it go. You might not remember what somebody tell you or something, but you remember how they made you feel.
And it made you feel,
Yes.
yeah.
So I remember how they made me feel. And what if I was one of those really weak people at a moment in my life where I just couldn't hold on, and you and your angry self came and invaded my space and broke my heart and made push me right over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing is, you never know what people are going through. You never
Right.
know what people are dealing with. So you have to be very sensitive about people's
Mm-hmm.
hearts these days, especially nowadays. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are going
Mm-hmm.
through things. A lot of people are suffering for whatever reason, whatever your pain is, whatever you're struggling with. A lot of people got whatever that
Yeah.
is going on,
Yeah.
some kind of something going on. So we can all identify with being overwhelmed. So that's why it should be a lot easier for people to be more compassionate and more empathetic to others. Because right now,
I agree.
this day and age, a lot of people are struggling to pay bills, struggling to buy food. That stuff high. Like it's a lot going
Mm-hmm.
on. And what we need
Yeah.
most of all is to unify, not to divide into little cliques and crews that talk about the people who can't wear the real slick clothes to church, but the people who wear just regular stuff to church because that's all they got. But then you got to feel uncomfortable because they're going to look down at you. And I've seen all this happen.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
seen all this happen from a minister's point of view, and I got to go and speak to these people's hearts to let them know I'm not like that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
carry it that way. I don't treat people like that. I'm sensitive with people's hearts because I know that they're important. Like, but that's me, and I'm rare, and I know there ain't a whole
Right.
lot of people like me. So,
Well, I know.
but still, I take it seriously. When I was a minister acting in actual ministry at a church, I took it seriously, and I did not treat people like I knew everything because I was a minister. I was very humble, very sweet, and treated them like they were people. And that's why they always tend to cling to me, to
Hmm.
love me, because I hold no judgments. None.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, we're sort of like cut from the same cloth with that. I've always been told since childhood, that I had the call to preach or be a pastor, right? I've always been told that by different people. And yeah, but my thing is, I didn't ever want to become a pastor because I'm too genuine and I'm too real and I will speak the truth. And the truth is not very popular nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I chose not to like really do that in a church, because I know that if I was to be in a church, I would tell the truth and people would want to kick me out. So I don't even do that. You know, I just speak the truth.
Don't
Um
one time.
my
Let me
life.
tell you something. When I preached, I was the type of person to make you say "ouch,"
Hmm.
because because I spoke the truth, because I was the least of these. I was the ones they
Right.
talked about. I was the type of person nobody wanted in their crew. They didn't like me. They talked about me. So yeah, I was
Hmm.
gonna get up there and I was gonna speak the truth. And I had nothing to lose because God was guiding me to say what I said. So if you didn't like it, take it up with him, not me.
I agree with that. I feel the same way. Me and you have dealt with a lot of the same stuff. I've been through that in church too, when I was going on a regular basis, being talked about or whatever
Mm-hmm.
else. But it is what it is. I'm here. I'm doing what God called me to do with the gifts and talents that I've been given. And I'm happy about that. I'm excited about everything that you got going on with your music publishing, with the song that you recorded that will be released whenever. Do you have any idea when that song will
Well,
be released?
I'm not really sure, but it's gonna be a very big surprise when it does happen.
Okay. And there'll be a video and everything.
Huh?
Yeah. There'll be a music video and everything.
Yes.
There has to be a
Yes.
music video. Okay. Okay. Looking forward to that. So everybody out there, be on the lookout for Kenya's single at sometime in the next few months or a couple of months or whatever. She's also has a feature part on the title track from Jumble Thoughts, the song, which we both co-wrote together.
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm singing the verses, and we're also harmonizing on the chorus together.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has a feature part and towards the end of the song too. So I'm looking forward to getting that out there, as well as that other song, Black Brother, as well. Um, so thank you so much, Kenya. And y'all, as I said, you all stay tuned for that song to come out. It's a very powerful song. And for all of you out there who felt like you've been overlooked in life and never take it seriously or underestimated, that song is for you. And you're going to love it. I love you, my sister.
I love you
And
too.
thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for kicking off the season 3 of the C Note.
No problem at all. Thank you for the invite. It was a pleasure.
Of course, always, you'll be back again, definitely.
You
Definitely again. So have a good night.
too.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, y'all. Love y'all. Good night. Good night.